Hey everyone, CC Yamato here with another episode where I talk briefly about the interesting things that came up while I was editing the older Cardcaptors footage from the VHS onto higher quality Blu-ray footage. We're over here on episode 13, and the reason we're here is because, well, when I started this project, my goal was to convert Cardcaptors over to the higher quality footage completely one-to-one. I wanted to use the same cuts, the same editing, the same pacing. I wanted the Cardcaptors experience entirely preserved when I took it over to the Blu-ray footage. So the only thing that would change would be a visual update. But in the process of doing that for episode 13, I decided that I could not live with myself if I did that, because there was a editing choice that they made 20 years ago when Nelvana was dubbing this to Cardcaptors that I fundamentally disagreed with. So I decided to make an executive decision and alter the footage a little bit to, in my opinion, make a slightly better shot. It's not a big change, but I think it's important for the flow of the episode. So before we get into it, let's just go over what we're looking at here on the screen. So up in the upper left here, we have my personally ripped VHS footage from the North American release of Powers Ploy. Over here on the top right, we have DVD rip from the volume 4 of the Australian DVDs. Down here in the bottom left, we have the uncut Blu-ray footage. This is what I use to update the show to the newer quality. I didn't talk about this in the last one. I'm not using the 4K high definition footage that came out in 2018. I'm using the Blu-ray footage that came off of the NIS America Blu-rays that was released in, I believe, 2014. And over here in the bottom right, we have the footage that I cut together. So this is what we're going to compare to at the end. So what we're going to do to start with is I'm going to play the uncut footage, and then I'm going to play the Cardcaptors footage, just to give you an idea of how these scenes played out, and we'll see if we can spot the difference. There's not going to be any audio. I'm going to just avoid the copyright issues here by not playing the audio. We're just going to play the video. It's only about 5 to 10 seconds, so we'll deal with it there. Okay, so I think it's pretty obvious what the difference is now that we've seen them side by side. For whatever reason, the Cardcaptors release, the VHS, the presumed airing, and the DVD all cut out this scene where she's seeing the penguin statue, the penguin slide, restored to its upright position. For whatever reason, the VHS just cuts this part entirely and goes right to Sakura's face, where she's clearly looking at the penguin, but we, the audience, don't get to see that. Now, yes, we, the audience, if you're watching the VHS version, you do see, okay, the penguin is upright. You do get to see it. But you miss this very nice shot, this nice pan of her seeing the statue return to the way it's supposed to be. For whatever reason, of all the things that they could have cut, they cut this frame, which to me feels like it's important just to see the resolution of the day's events. You've seen the end result of Sakura fixing Powers' mess. So that's why I decided to go through the footage and make my own tasteful edit to fix this. So let's go ahead and see what I did, and then we'll play them side by side just so we get an idea. Okay, so it's a little sloppy, and I think I'm going to go back and change the timing of it a little bit. But what I did, as you can see, is that I went ahead and went from her skating to her here in front of the statue to adding a small amount of that pan of her looking at the penguin slide. So I took basically the back end of the pan here, and it runs a little short if you play it just at speed. So what I might do is I might cut a little bit out of Sakura's reaction. But now let's go ahead and just look at what this looks like next to the original and the Blu-ray footage. So again, with the VHS footage up here and the uncut Blu-ray footage down here, here is my footage. Let's just play them real quick so you can just kind of see what this really looks like. It's still quick because I wanted to make sure that these scenes with Julian are timed. You can see them here, the VHS and my footage. So this timing was all kept. I wanted that. That's why this shot of the penguin is relatively short, but I think what I can do to maybe make this pan not quite so fast is I can potentially take a little bit of that out and a little bit of Sakura's reaction out here. But for the most part, I'm kind of dealing with what I can because I don't want to horribly desync the rest of the scene. Now, before we end this, I'm actually going to have another quick talk about the aspect ratios, because when I did episode 14, I talked about how the DVD, for whatever reason, has a small bit of horizontal compression. And when I decided to shoot this and put the extra VHS footage in just for comparison, I noticed something interesting. So right here on top, we have the DVD footage. This is the Australian DVD, and you can see that it is considerably horizontally compressed. Right under it is the VHS footage. And the VHS footage, if I blank the DVD footage, you can see that the VHS footage is perfectly clean 4:3. So if I were to blank this layer, what you will see is just slightly altered. It does look like, when you do it like this, it looks like the VHS was slightly zoomed in. It's just been ever so slightly cropped and zoomed. But what you have is perfect 4:3. So for whatever reason, the Australian DVD is horizontally compressed. That might just be a PAL region thing. I'd have to do some more research on that. Again, I am a complete amateur at video editing, so I don't know if these are just entirely common concepts that I am discovering for the first time. But yeah, that's just another interesting quirk when it comes to using the Australian DVDs, is that for whatever reason, they are just slightly compressed. So there you go, another quick video as I go through the interesting choices that Nelvana made 20 years ago when they dubbed Cardcaptor Sakura into Cardcaptors. I've still got a few more of these episodes to edit into the higher quality footage, so if there are interesting things that come up there, I will probably make another one of these if they're interesting enough to look at. Until then, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.